Because when you have your life fully packed and your routine fully set, it's hard for creativity and new opportunity to come in. Make that decision to move is a culmination of a lot of different factors.
And you haven't looked back?
No. Real estate is awesome. I'm really talking to people now about the mental game around it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another great episode of the What's Next podcast. I'm your host, Levi Casada, and the man behind the cameras, the Tony Hernandez. Say what's up, Tony.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Tony.
Yep.
What's going on today?
Not much, man. Excited for these episodes today. I'm
super excited. I get so excited. I don't know if you guys don't know this, but every time Tony knows we go through this whole spiel about 30 minutes before the podcast starts, I start panicking. I go in this full panic mode.
Like full-on breakdown.
I just forget stuff. I just feel like I'm not prepared and I'm not ready. And he's really good at telling me, like, you always do this. Stop. And then we have a great episode. And you know, this episode is not going to be any different. We actually have, and I say this, he told me that he's not. But this man's a legend. He really needs no introduction, okay? And I'm glad to sit down and get to know him at a more personal level, and that's what's so great about this podcast. It's super organic. Nothing is scripted. So without further ado, let me introduce, with over 30 years of experience in this business, the owner, the broker of the Cameron team. Please welcome Mike Cameron.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for that nice introduction.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And you know what I was thinking of saying is, this is a good looking man right here. Tony, do you agree?
Yeah.
I think he's a vampire. He is not aged. I'm going through all his social media and stuff, and just, what's your secret?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, I think I'll take that compliment any day. I'm not feeling the same. I will tell you that.
It definitely internally, it does change.
I mean, I could still hand out that 20-year-old realtor card and people won't know that it's 20 years old.
They won't. You look the exact same. You're looking good,
send
man.
me a couple bucks on business cards.
Yeah, right. Those are expensive these days.
They are expensive, and I've actually disposed of them anyway.
But are you full electronic now?
Yeah, and I don't usually just pass them out anymore. Even electronically, people ask me for a business card, and I'll just say, yeah, call me or email me.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it.
Of course.
So,
yeah. That's so much easier than just carrying a separate wallet, basically, for your business card.
Precisely.
Right? Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on to our show today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it, too. I'm excited.
I know.
Yeah.
You've been on many platforms. Please tell everybody where they've seen you before. I know you've been on the American Dream.
I have.
Quite a few times.
Did that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Worked with, those guys were great.
Yeah.
Did that show for probably a year and a half. And then we did Lifestyle San Diego.
Oh, okay.
And that was another good one too, with Tony Vargas and her team. It was a lot of fun. Those were so fun.
Right?
Yeah, they were so fun. We had some great times down at the Embarcadero and Seaport Village, and you're shooting and the public's watching, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I have to have the attention, but it's just fun to do it. Maybe it was when I was younger, I used to do drama in high school.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was in drama class.
That helps out a ton,
right? I loved it. Yeah, I mean, you're just kind of doing improvs here and there.
Yeah.
And it's fun to do, and to get back into it with Lifestyles and American Dream, it was fun.
Yeah. Did you ever get nervous like I do? Right before,
Yeah,
is it scripted?
yeah.
Is some of that not scripted?
No,
but you know, like questions going into it, maybe.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty open.
Still a hot seat, huh?
It was a hot seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just like you get kind of nervous in the very beginning, but then once you get rolling, you're a natural.
I'm
dude.
good now.
Come on, you're a natural. Every time we come
that.
together, I mean, I've only met you a couple of times, but every time we've gotten together, it's just like we could talk for hours.
We could, and we're going to.
That's all it is.
So we're going to go back. So you're talking about drama. Let's go back. You're a San Diego native.
I've been here since 79. So
79.
Born in New York.
Okay.
A couple years there. Family moved out to Tucson, Arizona.
U of A. Go bear down. Yeah. Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
It's the only thing that's in Tucson, by the way. There's nothing else there.
I will agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wonderful city. It's a beautiful city, but kind of an interesting place.
It is.
In a lot of ways. And we were there for probably 10 more years. 79 is when I moved out to San Diego.
Oh, nice.
Got a house out in La Mesa, went to La Mesa Middle School, then moved over to Mira Mesa High School.
Yeah.
Mira Mesa High School. Well,
yep. Yeah. So you have a good time frame. I'm sorry, I'm going deep into this because I looked you up.
Okay.
Of continued education after high school. Let's go from there. Like you ended up.
I mean, I started out wanting to be a teacher.
Did you really?
Things. Yeah, I was working for San Diego City Schools for a long time, and I grew up in a family of stockbrokers. So my stepdad at the time was a broker. When I was a kid, people would be coming around the Christmas tree, and I'd get stock certificates. I was like,
that's amazing. I mean, as a kid, you're like,
wow,
darn
this is
it.
amazing.
How do I play with this?
Chuck it in the corner and open your toys. But I was going to San Diego Unified School District and was working to be a teacher, talked to teacher after teacher, and did it for a long time. I was an aide and loved that job. I love kids and being around kids.
What age were you thinking?
It was school age. It was first through sixth grade. Yeah. It was a school age classroom. And then I got kind of rotated around the school district and did, fifth grade, sixth grade, and mostly the upper ages, the fourth, fifth, sixth.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the teachers I talked to, man, they were like, hold on, you're got some business background. Why would you want to be a teacher?
Yeah.
And then I talked to a couple really, what I felt like were teachers that I wanted to listen to and follow.
Mentors. Yeah.
Mentors. And they're like, you should probably skip out because at that time.
Well, you're in your early 20s too, right?
I was in my early 20s, but I think that was around the time that the political system or the school system got a little bit political.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we got to run through red tape. We've got to do this continue. You got to get your, it just sounded like a lot. And
you're like, I just want to teach, man.
I just wanted to teach. I did want to teach. Yeah. I did. But didn't work out, not in that regard. And moved on, called my dad. I was like, hey, here's where I'm at. He said, come on in the business. So I went to Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. And at that time, I didn't have a college degree. And nobody in that business gets in without a college degree.
Yeah.
So I went to Merrill Lynch. I went to UBS. I went to Payne Weber. And I got rejected probably 15, 20 times. I would go to, these interviews and guys would say, yeah, we're not hiring you until you get a haircut and a new suit, that kind of thing. I was like, what?
What would your haircut look like?
I was a surfer,
okay,
I was kind of, I lived in PB.
And you had the one suit that you went to all the interviews with.
Yeah, exactly. But it ended up being a great learning lesson and just a wake-up call for me. And I got serious, and I literally, when I turned 25, something clicked in me, and I just got serious and buckled down, got a job finally.
Yeah. You just don't remember what it was?
What do you mean?
Like, what made that switch in your head? Were you...
I had a daughter.
There it is.
Yeah, my daughter.
And, I hear that a lot too. Like, it is. You have this natural instinct as a parent at that time.
Yep. I was living down in PB and just, doing PB things in the summertime. I lived in PB for 7 years. It's like, this is a long time to be in PB. Yeah,
oh yeah.
So I had a daughter, and then I just got serious. I was like, okay, this can't go on, and got a job at Morgan Stanley Dean Witter.
Yeah.
And it was just Dean Witter at the time, but then they shipped me off to New York and worked in the trade center for a couple months.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Amazing.
Because now it's kind of going back to your not your roots. You don't remember really being in New York, do you? Being born there?
Not really. No, but I got a big posse over there.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of family in Poughkeepsie.
Oh, okay.
So they're still out there, and I had gone quite a bit just to visit, but when I got a job there, I was there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you live out there, or did you just go for months at a time?
They send you out there for a couple months. It's 3 months, 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
And you work in the trade center and get your training done, and then you come back to the branch office that you were hired at. So
you never felt like you wanted to be out there permanently?
No, it's an amazing city, but man, that's a concrete jungle, man.
Oh,
and the culture is so different. West Coast is best coast is what I always say.
Oh, I haven't. Yeah. Have you heard that?
No,
I haven't heard that.
West Coast is best coast, man.
West Coast.
Pick up the phone and call somebody in New York on a trading desk, and you're going to get the most direct, harsh discussion you could ask for.
Really?
They don't mess around, really. They just kind of tell you
all business.
It's all business. Yeah. But I find that people are like that too.
Really? Even after the fact, like at business hours are done, you feel like they're at...
Yeah, I mean, walk down the street in New York City, and people are geared to what they're doing. They're walking down the sidewalk. You're doing whatever you want in the peripheral, and they're just doing what they do. It's not a real friendly kickback, kind of place, and just chit chat with people. People are busy. It's a busy city. There's advertising, there's banking, there's the brokerages.
Yeah.
It's a serious city in the business realm. So people are serious over there, but I never really wanted to stay there. I loved going there.
Yeah, you're going only there 2 to 3 months at a time.
Yeah, and I was doing cool stuff because I was with Morgan Stanley, so they would stick me on the trading floor at the stock exchange. I was like, I'm a kid.
Yeah,
on the stock exchange, just going, wow. It was pretty cool.
Now,
experience.
are those the That's all I can picture in Hollywood movies, like obviously Trading Places and stuff like that, where
Exactly.
you're on the floor and they're just like,
oh yeah, well, it's not quite that dramatic as it does for TV, but they do have the trading centers throughout the floor.
Yeah.
And, there's monitors everywhere, and people are putting in orders. And the business has changed quite a bit since then. It's not like it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that paper business has gone away.
Right.
Yeah, and it's all. I mean, trading has taken over. Electronic trading and algorithmic trading has taken over the exchange, and it's a completely different business now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I would sit here and we can trade stocks while I'm chatting with you. It's like a
and then it gets
mainstream.
It gets fed through intermediaries, and who knows who you're buying your stocks through. It used to be directly pick up the phone, call your broker would call the trader would execute the order, and you got it. Now it's going through systems and intermediaries that you don't know if you're getting best price, and I think that's a big controversy now with the pricing and the exchanges.
Yeah. So you were in finance. You did that for 15 years?
Did that for about 10 years.
10 years, okay.
And it was like 94 to the early 2000s that I did that. That's a great business to be in. It is a kind of a wacky world, being a stockbroker, but if you're doing well, you're going to have a really good.
You're doing well.
You're going to have a good life. And
yeah,
it's a good experience. And had I stuck with it, I probably would be in a really interesting place right now. But I feel like I am already. But
of course you are.
It's just different. But it's after time, we talking to people with their retirement plans and stocks they bought 10 years ago. A partner of mine and I, while we were there, he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I've got this idea for a software company, and what we're going to do is help people figure out, because we used to get calls all the time from investors that may have bought AT&T 10 years ago. They know what they paid for it originally, but it has gone through maybe splits and spin-offs.
Right.
And now they have 7 different companies, and the cost basis has been adjusted accordingly for each one of those spin-offs.
Okay.
So what would happen is clients would call us and say, "Hey, I bought AT&T. I'm getting ready to sell it. I got to fill out my taxes. I don't know what I paid for it because of the adjustments." And when you transfer your account from one broker to the next, that information goes away. So the shares arrive, but the cost basis information didn't arrive. So the way that they used to deal with it real seriously is they would give it to their accountant, and their accountant would basically guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Just based on
they'd be like, well,
what they thought they paid for it?
Yeah, I mean, let's say they paid $10 a share, and they'd be like, well, you're probably, because they may not know all the I mean, it's a lot of forensic kind of research to get to the adjusted cost basis is what they call it. But it takes a significant amount of time. And if somebody is a big stock person and they take all that to their accountant, it's you're looking at hours of work.
Yeah.
And so I think there was a lot of guessing going on. And even at the IRS, they did not ever audit Schedule Ds. So when you had a Schedule D and it was filled out and you sent it to the IRS, you would think, okay, they're going to be looking. They never looked at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we built this software to help people figure that out. We raised $2 million and hired a bunch of people to do we had the algorithms done.
Yeah.
We did it with some other people, but we hired people to put together the software, and then we sold it to the Internal Revenue Service. They bought it.
Wow.
They ran 50,000 returns through the software, and they're losing a ton of money.
Yeah.
Just because they couldn't figure it out.
Wow.
So our ultimate goal was to try and get, I don't know, there's a lot to that story, but you may not want to go into that. But there's a lot to that story. But we tried to get lobbyists to mandate it through the Internal Revenue Service. That was a goal, to mandate it and then provide it.
Yeah.
Kind of be on both ends of that. But it didn't quite work that way, but it did. I mean, it's still being used today. It was used by the Depository Trust and Clearing Corp., which is the biggest clearing company and the oldest on Wall Street. So it was a pretty good achievement. We got to a point where the founder and I just had differences. I sold my shares back to the company.
Oh, okay.
He's still there doing it.
He's still doing it?
Yeah, he's still doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think, they didn't make a ton of money, but it's a pretty good business idea.
Yeah.
It's a solid business.
Great business. Yeah. Keep out all the guessing.
Keep out all the guessing.
all the guessing work and try to be.
There's a lot to it. And then I, from there, while we were running this software company, the brokerages came to us and said, "Hey, you guys software guys, you financial guys," and we decided to sell our stock business back to a different partner that we had at the time, and then got into the software. And then while we were building the software company, I was just decided, what am I going to do, for bread and butter? And I got into real estate, got my real estate license, started selling houses at the same time I was doing the software company.
Oh, okay.
And then it just got to be too much, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get out of the software and just do real estate full time.
Who did you start with when you started
Remax.
Remax, okay.
Yeah, Remax.
That's a new one.
I know. I had a buddy that was doing it, and he's like, "Yeah, come to work for me." And I was like, "Okay, sure."
And you haven't looked back.
No. Real estate is awesome. You know, the one thing about being a stockbroker is I had a radio show in the stock world too.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah, and I used to interview like authors and stuff like that. But it was very challenging. Started this thing early in my career and pitched it to the firm, and the firm was like, yeah, you can do this, you can do the radio show, but everything we did and said had to be scripted to the last word.
Really?
Yeah, they wouldn't let us improvise at all.
That's tough.
It's super tough.
It's super
tough. You can't have any organic conversations. So we were like, okay, how do we get around that? We'll go ahead and start bringing on guests and just asking questions, and that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. You know, I had Tony knows we had a guest that wanted to come in here, and he set up basically the whole podcast for me. So I'm running through the questions as organically as possible. And he studied them too much, and he was just like, oh yeah. He was so nervous, and he was just like, he answered every question in one question. Yeah. And I'm like, where do we go from here? Yeah. Like, okay, but it just didn't seem like, and then I'm like, hey, where are you from? You know, it's like we try to get like back to normal. Like, right. Yeah. Because your career is going to come out of this conversation, which it is. You know, we're moving on to real estate. You're in real estate now. What was the drive that you were like, this is where I want to be now? Because a lot of people jump into real estate. Yeah. When I was in real estate, I was doing a lot of I don't know if you're familiar with this, but when you're in financial services, a lot of the ways one of the ways you get clients is through doing dinner kind of events. Put together a big dinner, invite clients out, and then just meet and mingle, and bring in a good money manager to add some content to it. And so I was really comfortable with that. So when I got into real estate, I was very clear I didn't want my picture on a park bench. Really? That was not going to happen. I can say this now, it's kind of funny. As a stockbroker, the realtors are bottom. I mean, we looked at them like they were just losers. So when I was a stockbroker, I was like, yeah, your realtor's nothing. Come on, that guy doesn't know anything. He's a realtor. Yeah, yeah. And now, then here, fast forward a few years and I'm a realtor. Right. So it was kind of funny. Yeah. But I was pretty clear I didn't want to be on the park benches, and I didn't want to do geographic. I didn't want to be a geographic specialist and be tied to a geographic area. So I put together an organization and started doing workshops for corporations. And that's kind of what I've done in my entire career. Never really did any advertising or anything. It's just really been getting out into the public and meeting people and talking to people. But I was pretty excited about being a realtor because real estate is still the Wild West. It really is. It is an art. There's an art to it. 100%. Yeah. You can't really have that flexibility or creativity being a stockbroker. You could have people say that you can, but you're still very compliance oriented, and you've got everybody watching you. Yeah. So the day of a realtor, you just never know. Never know. You never know what is coming up, and it's a learning lesson from morning to night sometimes. It is, and you can really get out of the box and think things through and be creative to get a deal to happen. Like if you're really geared on making a deal happen and you're representing the buyer or seller side, any deal can be put together with the right terms and price. Right. You just got to get creative. Yeah. I think it takes a special, I think what separates the really good agents from agents that are maybe not as skilled is the creativity that they have and the sharpness that they have, that they can see through what buyers and sellers are saying and understand, okay, it may not happen in a linear fashion, but we're going to get around the challenges that we have in a transaction by doing some things that are creative with price and terms. Yeah. It's really cool. I mean, it's a great business. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Sometimes you're a hostage negotiator too. So sometimes you're a therapist. I mean, I can't tell you how much therapy I've gone through. Right. Well, you've studied psychology. Yeah. Has that helped kind of tremendously learn? Because you got to learn on the fly too. Just with the conversation of having the other agent on the phone. Yep. You got to be like, okay, who am I speaking to? Quickly, just from like size them up quickly. Yeah, size them up quickly. How am I gonna? Or does he want just numbers? Does he want a little bit of fluff? Does he need a little story? Does she need a story? You know what I'm saying? Like 100%. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of sales training when I was at Dean Witter. They don't mess around with those companies. They put you through a ton of sales training. So I've been really well trained on sales. Yeah. And a lot of that comes in the psychology side of it, right? Right. So there's that, but you do learn in real estate, I think you have to kind of adapt, or you're just not going to do well. You have to learn how to be creative, learn how to read people, learn how to communicate and relate to people. And the best agents are very good at that. Yeah. They're great communicators and great relators. That's the biggest part. It is. So now you own your own brokerage. You decided to go that route.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. You work with your family.
I do.
So your daughter at the time, right?
Yes.
That was out in PB surfing with you.
Pretty well, yeah. She was getting into trouble, but yeah.
She's getting into trouble.
Yeah.
And now she's working on your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She came to work with me when she was 19 or 20.
Yeah.
And got her license real early. And that was, do you have kids?
I have two.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
know. How old are your kids?
12 going on 13 next month.
Oh.
And then
They're
a
in the zone.
7-year-old.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, I got a female teenager coming my way.
Yeah. I would tell my wife, I'm like, the worst years of my life for when my daughter was between 12 and 14.
I'm just the true story today, just driving her to school. I was just telling her, so my wife sends me this alert. She has this BNI group in the morning, so I take the kids. She's like, it was about this kid. Sorry, I'm getting off track here, but it was about this kid who stayed after school waiting for his dad. He was sitting outside. A lady pulled up in an SUV, asked him to get in the car. Didn't get in the car. And so my wife sends me this whole thing that was written out, that was posted on, I don't know what it was posted on. She's like, can you have this discussion with the kids on the way to school?
So a stranger pulled up.
A stranger. She's like, can you have this stranger danger talk with our kids? And we live in a small community, which is fine. And it was shocking it even happened there. And, I'm sitting there and I'm having this conversation with the kids, like trying to explain, like, we don't get in cars, don't give them your real name, don't even give them your name, don't even talk to them. And I'm telling you, these people are driving around looking to see if there's anybody around first before they approach these kids.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there talking to her and she's just like looking forward. I'm like, do you understand me? Look at me. And she just looks at me and I'm like, kind of scared me, kind of gave me chills. Like, oh, what's going to come out of her mouth?
Yeah.
She's like,
because you never know.
I have 2 tests today, and you taught, and just crying them all. Just wanted to let you know about stranger danger.
Wow.
It's a scary moment.
I mean, that's pretty serious.
Yeah, it was pretty serious. But to them, it's like, it was probably not the right time to do it. I mean, I guess there's no right time to do it, but for her, like, and then the next moment she'll be like, I love you, Dad. And I'm just like, yikes. Like, they scare me.
Yeah, it is. It's not necessarily, your kids, you raise them the way you raised them. You can only do the best job that you can do, teach them good values.
Yeah. And
you set them off into the world, and then that's where the stuff, comes into play. You just never know, what's going to happen in any given day and who they're going to interact with and run into trouble. And my daughter went to private schools for most of her upbringing, from kindergarten all the way through 9th grade.
Wow.
All private schools. And it was in the private school that we had a problem. We had bullying going on, and there was an experience in her school once where I had to call the school, call the kid, call the parents, and it's such an interesting and tough and challenging time for parents today. I mean, you are further down the road I'm further down the road than you are.
Yeah.
But times have changed so much that what's going on today is serious stuff.
It's crazy.
You gotta really watch out for your kids. And, I don't know how much you want to get into it, but I think you got to watch your kids everywhere, not just at, going, walking to school and coming back to school, but being at school now.
Yeah.
You never know what they're being taught in school these days, which, I don't know how much you're aware of that, but there's a lot of really bad stuff being taught in general schools these days.
Right.
Just the kind of books and literature that's available is a little bit scary. And maybe it's happening and maybe it's not happening, but there's evidence that it's happening in certain, areas of the country. And so you have to watch your kids at every moment, going to the mall, going to school, their friend's house over the weekend. And then you just have to balance that by not being too much of a creeper either, a creeper parent.
Yeah.
Like they're just going to reject and rebel, and you don't want that either.
Yeah. I think honesty is a big part of parenting. And like when they come to you for like my daughter came to me, I'm not even going to tell you the question she asked me, but she came to me and I answered it as well as I could, because my fear is technology.
Yeah.
They have the answer right at their fingertips.
Yep.
But not the answer that probably they should not be reading. Depending on what websites, we're talking about politics. It's like if you watch Fox News, you get one side, CNN another side. You know what I'm saying? So it's same thing with those answers that they're looking up. I want to give her what my experience of life is on that question, not some computer.
That's the way it should be.
And it should be that way.
Yeah, you should
and it's tough because she doesn't have a cell phone yet, and she's been asking because she feels so dumb in class. She it's like you talk about bullying. It's like teachers are bullying. Teachers are like, turn in your cell phones, before class starts, and she doesn't have one. And then all of a sudden the teacher's like, well, I need to tell you, you're hiding it from me. If you're not turning one, it's like, no, I don't have one.
Wow.
And I told her, and they're like, well, we don't have to call your parents. I'm like, you know what? Have them call me. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll enjoy that.
I would enjoy that. Have that teacher call me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, it's an interesting time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, so you're still teaching your daughter, which is great. So she 20. Did she go to college or?
Nope. No,
that's okay.
Yeah, she came to me and she's like, she was, I think, watching me. Obviously, your kids watch you, right?
Of course.
So, and,
yeah.
My wife at the time, her mom had a 4-year degree, went to USD. So she was getting both sides in the family.
Yeah.
And when she was 19, her first thought wasn't, I'm going to go do more schooling. She was looking to figure it out for herself first.
Yeah.
And that's what she decided to do. She came to me and said, hey, I don't know how it actually happened, but she ended up, because I'm sure it was not just this, hey, come to work with me.
Yeah. This will be great,
Dad.
Yeah.
It was more of a, kind of a necessity thing out of necessity. It's like, come to work for me. And
how did that dynamic work?
It was tough, man. It was tough in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, just being a parent with a teenager, from, like I said, it was tough when she was in her young teens, but going through her whole teen years was challenging. And, we had our own set of challenges with the divorce and all that stuff. But, she finally came to me and started working with me. But in any real estate office, when you have somebody starting with you, you really have to teach them the ropes and tell them what to do, how to do, what to say, how to say it.
You've been through it. Like, it's funny because they don't think we've said that lie or we've been in that situation. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to tell them, like, whatever you're saying, I've already said that before.
Yeah. I mean, we went through so many years of her, stopping and starting and quitting and coming back.
Yeah.
And, I hate you. I love you. I hate you. It's kind of
well, it's good to know it still goes on.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is that if you just stick to your values, it's not going to be perfect moments all the time.
Right.
That's the way life is. It gets dirty sometimes. But if you stick to good values and good ethics and you do the right thing, then things come around.
Yeah. I wish there was a way to tell them now, like, if you could go to the future and be like, you're going to have this realization that we only have the best intentions for our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all the stuff that you were teaching her and trying to get her you're trying to fast forward her career. Like, you've been there, you've done that.
I can make it easy for you.
I could exactly just stop and listen. I'm only meaning the best for you. My wife went through the same thing. She worked with her family business, worked with her dad. Her dad took her on every business trip possible and she hated it. It's like, you're learning from an OG right there. He knows the business. He knows how to sell.
Yeah.
And she fought tooth and nail every time that she was just like, I can't stand it. I can't.
Was there ever any kind of reconciliation or
they love it. Yeah. I think she, again, out of any bad situation that, she left the family business and stuff, but you learn something from it, whether it was good or bad. You're like, okay, I got this takeaway from it or this takeaway from it. So
for sure.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah. He quit, he retired very early in life. And so I think that was the best thing for her, learning from him. He was just he was a media broker.
Oh, okay.
So the buying and selling radio stations, he brokered all those deals. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to, in that situation, you're not going to get a better mentor. You've got somebody that cares about you and loves you.
Of course.
His experience in the business is going to teach you right. How often do you see people get involved with other mentors and it doesn't work out just because it's not, there's not that personal care element to it. So, I mean, I've had a lot of, moments with my daughter where she's come back and said, you know what?
You're
all
right.
those years, you were right. And we kind of laugh about it now, and it's great. We're very close and get along great, and still work together today, and it's great.
Yeah, that's amazing. And fun. You work with your wife?
We work together. She's just since actually changed that, though.
Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
And we had a good 10 years together in the business. We're probably going to get to this in a little bit and talk about Arizona, but we went over to Arizona. I'm a broker over there too.
Yeah. Really quick, fast forward, why going to Arizona?
Well, because when COVID hit, I mentioned earlier that my primary business model was going into corporations, and we, have been into city of San Diego, county, the federal buildings, most of technology and biotechs in Sorrento and Mira Mesa.
Yeah.
So my whole business was based around live events and going in and talking to people. And then COVID hit and people were like, well, we can't have you come in anymore. You can't come in and talk to our employees. And we had a full roster of workshops for the week. We were doing like one workshop a week.
What was part of your workshop? Is it just educating?
Yeah, I still do them today. I just did one yesterday at Novartis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, big company, international company. And went in, nice room full of people, packed house, and talked to them about homeownership, financing, investments, a lot of different topics. But it's real estate. I've authored probably 5 different workshops on different topics and various, discussions. And yesterday was homeownership 101.
Yeah. Most people need that.
Most people need that. And it's like such a wake-up call. It's like, it's not easy.
Yeah.
The HRs, I get a lot of HRs who come to me and say, man, I feel so bad because our employees are paid very well, but even the median salary affordability is down to 27% or 25% in California. So, most of the people in the room can't afford a house. So.
Scary.
Yeah. So, I've kind of shifted my discussions around, not just this is how to buy a house, this is how to get a loan. These are the steps you go through. I'm really talking to people now about the mental game around it and just being positive. What I've found after doing thousands of workshops or many hundreds of workshops is that the people that end up buying houses, even if it doesn't really pencil out well and they can't afford it or it's tight on their budget, are the people that have real positive mindsets and they're just going to do it. They're set, they have their mindset. Yeah. And it's like, I want to buy a house in the next couple of years and this is where I want to be. This is what I want to get. And they just stick to it. They forge ahead against the headwinds and they end up buying a house. I know I've had a lot of people over the years who have been very well off in my workshops, had the ability to buy houses and they're negative. They're like, I'm going to wait till the market's in a better position or I'm in a better position. I'm going to wait till my life really lines up for this to happen. And I look back and many of those hundreds of people who were just waiting for a better time are never going to get a house here now because they waited.
They waited too long.
Yeah. And it's really not just, timing is a lot of doing what you have to do with a big purchase like that. But I think it's more the mindset. Like I'm talking to people about not how to buy a house and how to sell a house. It's get a coach. Get a coach today who will coach you through the process from beginning to end, not just where to buy, how to buy, what to look for, how to negotiate, how to get a good loan, how to get good terms, how to negotiate good terms in a contract. Let's coach you through this so that you remain motivated through the process and you remain focused despite all this stuff going around.
Right.
Because there's so much going on in the economy and in business today that people just get pounded. They're getting hit in a lot of areas, not just affordability, but people are saying, you can't buy a house or you don't want to buy a house. It's too expensive. Or the one thing I hear a lot is it's just never going to happen for me.
Right. Well, because we're not in there. They're hearing it from people that they're next to all the time.
Right.
And they hear it from one workshop and then they go home. Like you said, that's genius, by the way. Get a coach.
Yeah.
That will be on you and talk to you about financing and different things. Yeah. Do you coach yourself?
I kind of do, but not in a formal way. I don't get paid for it. I don't charge for it. But I've got an awful lot of people that I had a client call me the other day and he's like, hey, it's a guy, I sold him a house. I've sold him 3 houses, I think. And he called me up and he said, hey, Mike, I'm in a situation and I didn't know who else to call. And you're the financial guy. So I wanted to call you and talk you through an issue.
Yeah.
So I just talked him through. He had a debt situation that he was looking at and wanted to figure out the best way to navigate out of that and had a great conversation. I was honored that he called me. It was kind of, it's nice. It feels good.
Yeah.
I don't charge for it, but I talk to people like that all the time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that they have that relationship with you that they can pick up the phone and know that they'll get you and you can give them as good advice as you have.
I've had some a lot of years of financial services and stock and bonds and, finance and debt. And it's nice. Not everybody needs it. It's nice when it comes, but it was definitely an honor.
Do you coach people on retirement plans?
No, it's not really my business anymore. Yeah, okay. You've got to kind of be licensed to do that. I do it, kind of roughly, but not formally.
Yeah. So we got off track here, but going back to COVID, you couldn't get in front of people.
it was a little challenging for us. We wanted to reinvent the business. My wife has family in Tucson.
Yeah.
Her parents are down there. All our siblings are down there. And
we'll have to take a trip together. Do you guys ever go there back?
Yeah, we go there all the time.
No,
Did we ever go where?
Go back to Tucson?
We go all the time. Yeah.
Do you really?
We go probably at least once or twice a year for the holidays.
Okay,
so we're there. Thanksgiving that's our spot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes Christmas. So, yeah. My wife's parents are big. You go to the house and the place is like decked out.
Oh yeah,
it's full on Christmas. So all the kids and grandkids, it's kind of the central spot people go.
What part of town are they in?
In the east side,
okay.
Tanque Verde.
Yeah, grew up over there.
Yeah, play golf there every once in a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, we go. That's where they're at.
It's so funny that it's still like you get off the freeway and people are like, oh, what is that, a 5-hour drive? I'm like, yeah, until you get off the freeway and it's an hour across town because there's no freeway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of nice, but then it's also not nice at getting across town.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that it's in an hour. Like it's not really that far. But
just about. It really is, especially now that it's getting bigger and bigger. Once you get off the freeway, it's like stoplight, and then you can hit a little bit of traffic with the 2 road going 45 miles an hour. It takes like 45 minutes to get across town.
For sure. No, it does.
Yeah.
And it goes far to the east, so I guess that's why. But, that city hasn't really changed a lot when I was a kid there in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. But not much has changed. There's no east-west freeway.
No.
And they don't want one.
They don't want one. They never will build one.
I have hope.
I hope. So she has family down there. You want to be close to somewhat family. And I get the Tucson dynamic for sure. You're not going to start a brokerage there. It's
right. Yeah. And I have family. My brother, sister, mom are all in Phoenix and the surrounding areas of Phoenix. So, and Phoenix is fun. Scottsdale is a cool city.
It is a cool city.
Have you been over there a lot?
No, yeah. I mean, from here, like I coach volleyball, so I was there every weekend doing tournaments up there.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Cool spot. A lot of really cool things on the real estate side about Phoenix too, but that's why we went there, because Phoenix is where family is, and Tucson is where family is. And I ended up, during COVID, getting my broker's license, getting my NMLS number.
Okay.
And got, I don't really do much with it, but I'm in the loan business too. And that's what took us over there. And we kind of just organically wanted to see what would happen if we started a business there. And not a lot of expectations, but we're super busy there now.
Really?
Yeah, just doing a lot of buying and selling, working with buyers and sellers, and doing development now. I'm getting into development, which is an interesting side of the business. It feels like a natural transition out of, not necessarily out of, selling, but we're working on building houses now.
Yeah, there's a lot of development going on out there.
Tons, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody that wants to start a business now that you have been in Arizona and California, what advice would you give someone that is, say, young, not family, early 20s, but it's like wants to start a business? What will you answer for that? Like, should they move to Arizona, or should they like try here? What is it like?
What kind of business do you think?
Related to yours, any business that you're doing, like say real estate.
I'll tell you this, that business there and real estate there is a whole lot easier.
Really?
And I experienced this on the stock business
too,
when I was a broker. And I don't know how this is going to come across. I really don't mean it to come across
That's
bad,
okay.
But you know what? It is California, and I love San Diego. I feel like San Diego is my home, but there is a unique concentration of talent that comes out to California. You think of San Francisco and the business and the banking in San Francisco, and technology, across the bridge, and the brilliance that exists up there, in venture capitalism. But the weather, it must be the weather, and, Hollywood, it's this desire to be in California. It brings a lot of people out to work here, and you get really talented people in all realms of business, or all kind of categories of business. So when I was a broker here, it was much more difficult than going to Arizona and being a broker.
Really?
I'm sorry, reverse that.
Okay.
It was much more difficult here and I'm just meaning you have to be a little sharper, a little bit more competitive, a little more knowledgeable. And it doesn't make it easier, because anywhere you start a business, it's going to be, you're starting a business. So you have to have the characteristics of a business person. Yeah. But it's definitely easier, especially in real estate. You can go there and price points are easier. The agent pool is a little easier in terms of, I think agents here, it's the 80-20 business, or 80-20 rule. Over there it is kind of too. But that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I think it's easier.
Easier? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as a consumer, let's just put ourselves in consumer shoes in Phoenix, and you can buy a nice big house on a big lot for still, $700,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even cheaper than that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's parts of Phoenix where we were looking at 4,000 square foot houses for $1 million.
Oof.
I mean,
With land.
tons of land.
Tons of land. It wasn't just a house.
Yeah.
You weren't butted up against anybody. You had a good acre or acre and a half of land.
It's hard to even conceptualize how you could build for that cost.
Yeah.
What you can buy out there. And it may not be, it's not Scottsdale. It's the surrounding areas of Phoenix. But just to hit back on your point, I think just getting into business in Phoenix and buying a house and making a living, it's a little harder to make a living in California. There's a lot more layers to business here. You've got more bureaucracy in California for sure, higher taxes. So I think Arizona's way easier.
Okay.
It's kind of a long-winded response.
What will be the positive aspect of that? Because the way that I kind of see it is like we rise up to the level of competition, right? So if we have a lot of competition, they're good competition, we kind of rise up to that level, right?
Yep.
So let's say if, like in your case, you made it here, San Diego. So when the time you arrived to Arizona, you were just a shark. You were just like a big fish because you know the game.
Yeah.
So you had the experience of competing with big fish over here, and you arrived to a smaller pond, and then you're just like, oh, it's easy.
It's so funny you say that because I'm never one to really compare myself to the outside. Like I'm always very inner driven. I always have been in every business I've been in. So I'm really hard on myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm always such a loser. Like you could do better. So I don't arrive over there and feel like, okay, I'm a big fish in a small pond, but you do feel it because you're just, you're still operating the way that you operate and it just goes further over there.
Yeah.
It gets you into more doors and gets you into more opportunity.
I will say the crossover between California and Arizona, and you're still in the market. It's not like you took your business and stopped it here and went over there. It's nice to have both because the crossover is big with people buying either second homes, vice versa. You know, Arizonans coming here buying a summer vacation home, renting it out, and then them buying a retirement home or, same, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. There's a lot of that. I mean, you could make a business just out of being the moving agent for California and Arizona. There's so many people going in both directions.
Yeah.
It's really hard to line up in a practical sense, and to start the business that way would probably be hard.
Yeah.
But definitely what you're saying. Yeah.
Do you do property management then as well?
I used to. I dabbled in it here, and it's so tough.
I just didn't know if you had clients in Arizona saying, especially Scottsdale, because those, that clientele definitely will come over into San Diego if they have those summer homes that they want you to manage throughout the year or anything. I didn't know. No, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's just a different part of the business that you really have to be built for.
Yeah.
Maintenance calls.
Right.
That kind of stuff doesn't excite me. You have to have a lot of doors to make a good amount of money, and
That's
a lot of
so
doors
true.
means a lot of maintenance and a lot of calls. And
all you can hope for, what you're really hoping for, is the business out of it. If they're when they're ready to sell, you're hoping to get that.
But
that business.
the good ones in property management, they just stick to it. They'll refer out all their buy and sell business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
The good solid managers just take on a lot of volume, have a really solid business, and then when they get buyers or sellers, they're referring it out.
Yeah.
But I definitely like going back. There's so many good things about San Diego in and of itself, and such an awesome city.
Yeah. So
I love the city, and I love the things about Phoenix too, though.
Okay, so let's go back. I know this is a weird, I don't ask this question much anymore, but I'm glad we brought it up. COVID hit. You got two different political dynamics.
Yeah.
California, which was like, no one's doing anything, shut it down.
Yeah.
And you have Arizona. We talked about the Wild West. That is the Wild West over there. And it's funny you say that because I had family, and we still, just because of what we had to do here and what they were not used to doing there. That dynamic. What did you feel? Because you couldn't get in front of people here, so you moved you out to Arizona.
Right.
Were you guys still able to get in front of people?
I didn't do workshops over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just went over there, and, I think it was more, the reason that we went over there was because the timing kind of lined up.
Yeah.
COVID became the opportunity to start a business there, but we didn't go over really to get out, We weren't running from California.
Yeah.
But the environment that you're describing is much different over there. It's a red state, and for the most part, California is changing in a lot of ways. And in the real estate side, there's a lot happening in San Diego that I think a lot of people are not aware of. And it is changing the city. And being here since 79,
I was going to say,
it's honestly painful to watch.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's painful to watch,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, because we're a great city, but, we've come a long way from, you just drive around the city and you can see kind of things declining and the quality of life declining.
Yeah.
And it's tougher. People are more stressed out. It's, that's a result of leadership in our offices.
Right.
And, yeah. So I think going to Arizona is a little bit different, although just nationally in general, it's a challenge right now. But I'll just give you an example. If you're aware of SB 10,
Okay.
SB 10 was introduced by Corey Adkins and supported by Newsom, and it's a bill that will allow single-family homeowners to put up 10 units in any neighborhood they want to, regardless if there's an HOA or not.
Really?
Yeah. So let's just play this out.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
play this out. You live in a nice neighborhood. Mira Mesa, I'll just pick that out.
Okay.
It's a pretty well-lined neighborhood in terms of tract homes. It was built in the 80s, 90s, and 5,000 square foot lots. They're cut pretty much the same throughout that community. And, a good enough size lot that you have maybe a 1,500 square foot house. There's enough room in the backyard to put an ADU. ADU laws relaxed a couple of years
Right.
ago. So it was, we saw a lot of that popping up. But with SB 10, you could actually put up 10 units. And along with that is there's no parking restriction, meaning the developer doesn't have to put in adequate parking. So they're just expecting people to use the land to maximize the land and then park on the street.
Just
and
anywhere.
It's not going to take many of those to really create a problem.
Right.
And so I think, that's a problem. San Diego is now, they're doing what's called shelving it. They're going to do a workshop around it, which, to me is just kind of kicking the ball down the court a little bit.
Yeah.
Letting things digest in the public eye, kind of letting the attention go away from SB 10 for a while. And they'll probably try and adopt it in San Diego unless it's stopped. And most people, I talked to a workshop yesterday. How many people are aware of SB 10? Nobody's aware of it.
Nobody is. Yeah.
So it's more of an awareness thing. And I think we need to speak up, and we've got, Todd Gloria, we've got, a couple of city council members that are really kind of pushing this stuff that's really hurting the city, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's getting people to understand that, hey, you might want this, it might sound good,
Yeah.
but it's going to really change the quality of life for everybody.
100%. Have you had a chance to talk to other agents about this and how they're feeling? Because, that's a kind of a selling point sometimes. Like, it depends,
Sure.
Yeah,
you bring up an excellent point.
Yeah.
I mean, for investors, and I think this is part of the reason why, over the past couple of years since 2019, home prices in San Diego, median home prices up to $1 million. It's gone up probably 60% since Carlsbad 92009 La Costa has gone up 50 to 60% since 2019. That's a big number.
That's a huge number.
It is.
That's a huge number.
And part of that is not just the lack of supply
Yeah.
and continuing demand, but it's also because there are investors in this marketplace that are anticipating down the road that land value is going to be worth a lot more than it is.
Yeah.
So they're bidding up the pricing that way too. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we're getting such, fast appreciation here, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you're pointing out that the investment optics here are very good, and it's, whether it happens or not, the money's coming in, the prices are going up, but I really hope that doesn't pass.
It can't.
Yeah.
We can't sustain it.
SB 10.
Yeah.
SB 10.
We'll have to look that up. It just, there's no way this economy can't.
And what's the reasoning for that? Is it for the homeless problem, or why is the reasoning for
You're going to
that?
get a different answer depending upon who you ask. 'Cause
Okay.
it's more of a political issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a general theme to push density in inner cities. And what I mean by that is, most of the leadership in a lot of the country are visualizing cities that have fewer cars, more walkability scores, and they want to have more people pushed into inner cities so that they're talking about taxing mileage,
Yeah.
They're talking about getting rid of cars, a lot of people are saying cars aren't going to be around for a long time. I mean,
Like 2035, isn't it? Like like a law or something, or bill that they say.
It's a bill in California.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different bills going around, but they all kind of have the same theme.
Okay.
Which is get people into the inner cities, have them use public transportation, which, when we look at public transportation now,
It's not.
it's expanding, but nobody's
taking it.
Nobody's using it.
Nobody's using it.
If you're a resident in San Diego, everything's 20 minutes, right? That's what they always say.
Yeah, 100%.
La Mesa is 20 minutes. Yeah, everything's 15, 20 minutes.
It might seem far, but it's only 20 minutes.
Yeah, but on public transportation, it's so much different.
Yeah.
And
it's not very good though.
People aren't going to choose it. They're going to leaders recognize this, so they want to force
people. Isn't that
people.
an East Coast model though? Like, I mean, isn't that what they do in
New
York? You're so densified in there that you can't.
But transportation is faster, isn't it? Like,
you got subways. Yeah.
Here in San Diego. Have you ever tried to get a trolley? No, you have never tried.
Don't ask me about that. I've never got on a trolley.
Never step on one of those.
Maybe the light rail.
I tried it once, and it's not easy.
It's not easy. It takes forever.
Yep.
Taxis are super expensive. Ubers are like okay, but still,
they're going to the airport now.
The trolley.
Yeah, trolley's going to the airport.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You got to get on that thing 5 hours before you take off? Or?
That's a good question. I think there's going to be like a point in Old Town that stops and then goes to the airport.
We should do a media thing about that and get on there and see how long it takes and educate people about it.
Have you taken the public transportation?
Trolley. I had to take it several times in my younger years.
It's kind of fun, like doing a Padre game or doing, I was in La Mesa and came down to, I think, Petco Park and used public transport. It's fun.
Yeah.
But as a day-to-day thing,
it's a day-to-day.
Conceptualize that. I mean, it'd be kind of hard.
It gets boring after a while.
Well,
when you do it every day.
And it works if you're going from point A to point B all the time. But, in my business, I'm kind of take a car out of the equation. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Farm one area. That's it.
I'm going to show a buyer 10 homes today. I'm going to map it out on public transportation. Good luck with that. But I don't know how all of it ends, but things like SB 10 and a lot of these other bills it's not going to help our quality of life. It's going to help them and what they're trying to do. But,
right.
Well, you even said it the other day. What was it? Is it a Costco or no? Home Depot? What was it? The thing you were saying that was in front of the arena? The arena?
What's in front of the sports arena? Which one?
Is it a Costco or something that you were saying like, I was driving by there and it's like, it's all dirty now and it used to be at like a nice area. You know where the concert is right here? But if you take
it's the sports arena area where it that place. I honestly I won't take my kids there. I'm sitting in that Target is probably the one I go to the most.
Target, yeah.
And I'm sitting in there and now there's armed security there. I've never seen an armed security in Target with a pistol sitting. Oh, yep, right out in front, right by the carts, fully armed. I'm like, and this is I've been here only 9 years. That's the growth that I've seen just in that little area right there. You're talking about Rosecrans and close to Point Loma and.
Yeah,
it's
area
changed a lot. I just won't take my kids.
That's where I go to the gym. Victory MMA. Shout out, plug in real quick. That's where I go to the gym right there. And I moved to San Diego in 2020. So I moved in like 2 weeks.
Where'd you come from?
LA.
Okay.
So what you're mentioning sounds to me like SP10 sounds LA to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like too many
it's too dense.
Too dense. So when I moved here, 2020 hit, so I didn't get to know the city too much, right? Until like 2021 when we could actually we can be out and about. So for me, that area looks that way since I've seen it for the first time. Yeah. But for you and maybe you that you've been longer here, it's just like, no, dude, it didn't look that way before.
No, it didn't. It's changed.
To me, is close to a ghetto area. Like that's so close to become a ghetto.
Yeah,
because I see like bunch of homeless, a bunch of like street clubs too, and all that stuff there.
20 years ago, that used to be a nice location. I mean, it was still kind of dicey because it's right outside of MCRD, so it was kind of set up for that type of setup. But the Target you mentioned, I used to go to that place all the time, and there was a 24-hour fitness in there, and that was all. It was really nice. It was And it's just changed because of the density, but it's changed a lot. That's pretty interesting.
It is. It was very interesting. That was.
I remember you saying
that.
Like
like a month ago, I was just like shocked. Like, okay, I've seen Target security, you know, those guys just wear and they walk around, and you have security anywhere like that. But
how do you feel about Mission Valley? I think Mission Valley is still pretty okay. I don't see much of those things here.
Well, the funny thing about Mission Valley is they are cycling in decent priced housing.
Okay.
You know, there's some really nice condos over there.
Yeah.
So the demographic coming in is, there's a lot. I mean, they're kind of squeezing a lot of people. You know, the golf course in there, I used to golf there all the time.
Riverwalk.
You know, they sold that off, and there's a development company. They're building condos.
Yeah.
I think they already wiped out 1-9. They're going to be doing the other one soon.
You think they're going to do all 18 there? They're going to take
That was the plan.
that whole golf course down?
That was
Because
the plan.
they have started the back, that 1-9 back
Yeah.
underneath there.
So is you saying that more people are going to invest here in this area?
Condos?
It's hard to say. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I think the general development plan across the country is more adopting to build to suit. So developers are buying it to rent them out just because it's a good business. But it's a 1-by-1 thing. I don't know. I don't know if people are going to sell them off. But to answer your question, I think, is it a good time to invest here? You know, maybe. I think what I was trying to get at was that the Mission Valley area is getting a lot of good housing. There's good demographics coming in. I feel like Mission Valley's okay. Do you?
Yeah. I do. I live here. I live by in front of the Fashion Mall.
Yeah. That's nice over there.
And they're building new apartments that look very nice. The one that is next to mine is very nice. I can walk at night and I don't see any issues. You know, I don't see cops in the police station is near a few blocks from there. So it's
I think this area will always be nice because you have so much traffic coming through here off the 8.
Yeah.
Just because you want it to be nice.
It's
it has to be because you have a lot of hotels there that need to be, you know.
Yeah, you know, I think there's different levels of nice too, but
of course.
You know, I always say that because think about Mission Valley 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and a lot of those condos, they're very, very old.
Yeah.
So they're kind of due for some
remodeling.
Remodeling and replacement. And I was at a hotel at a function not too long ago in Mission Valley, and I'm walking around the hotel. I can't even remember which one it was, but it was so old, man. It was so ghetto.
Really?
It really needed to go.
Not the Town and Country. Is that the one? There's the convention center ones that they...
No, because that got replaced already.
That did get replaced, you're right.
A new group came in, and it's supposed to be really nice over there.
Yeah.
You know what?
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Another area that is around here that I also didn't realize was a nice area was Old Town.
Yeah.
I have a friend that lives there. It's like a very niche bubble.
Yeah.
That I didn't know existed. The other day I went to his house. I was going to Old Town, and then I turned. I think I was going from here over there. So I was turned left, went up the hill, and then boom, bunch of nice houses.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, where did this come from? This is well hidden over here.
It's really well hidden. It's up on Presidio Park up there. Yeah, and there's houses around there just awesome.
Yeah, there's there's some mansions there. I see big houses there.
Well, we're all considered mansions at this point, right?
Yeah.
You have own a house here. You're living almost in a mansion.
Yeah.
It's a nice area too.
So you don't think our future is too bright?
I think future is bright. I'm very optimistic.
Okay,
I just
good.
think we're going to go through some tough times.
And I love that you're saying this because this is a great platform for it too, because we'll push this out, but it's educating everybody.
Yeah.
Not only just the consumers and stuff, but our agents as well, knowing, hey, as good as it might look down the road, it's not going to be good.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people with their hearts in the right place.
Yeah.
Being taken advantage of people that have power in their agenda, and the people with the good hearts are going along with it, thinking they're doing compassionate things.
Right.
But at the end of the day, leadership is probably leading us astray a little bit.
Yeah.
And you have to be involved. You know, I have so many friends that are just not involved, and you say, hey, are you seeing what's going on with this? And they're like, no, I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. Because nobody likes to. It's not fun.
Exactly.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to follow politics on politicians all the time? It's terrible, but you really have to get involved, because if you're not, people are making decisions for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like people feel like they had to pick a side, which you don't really have to, right? You can have your own opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can vote on the issues.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you vote on the issues, you're going to end up on a side eventually.
Yeah.
You know, I think people are still taking the side that they believed that they wanted to be part of, that may have represented them 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the Democratic Party, just to get specific, has changed a lot.
A
lot.
You look at
just in 2 years, it's changed a lot.
It's changed because the people at the top are taking it in a different direction.
Yeah. And what I think information is important. Educating yourself is also important, and just not be blinded by what some people think, right? Make your own opinion, I think, right?
Yeah.
So by just observing and paying attention to things, like a lot of people, like in talking about that party that you mentioned specifically, they're not business people. They're public servants, right? So they serve public, right?
Yeah.
The economy is based on businesses. The economy of the United States is based on the capacity of people on generate money, right?
Yep. For sure.
Keep the economy going. So a lot of most people don't understand that. That's why I think there's a huge miscommunication, because I will not put somebody that doesn't know business in charge of the, I don't know, like a business or the economy, right? So I don't know, I will think to put somebody that has experience managing money, growing the economy or growing a business, growing that, to be in charge of that, rather than somebody that's just been an employee the whole time.
100%.
Okay. I don't know. It's just that makes sense. Not getting political in life views, just financially.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think, the fiscal issues have always gone to one side and the social issues have gone to the other. I think that's how it's presented to us. But I think those representations are a little different today than they used to be. I think it's really hard to distinguish one party from the next these days. I think you got to just get involved and understand. What I think it is I would say disregard red or blue and, focus on the people that are actually talking and making decisions. Like understand who Todd Gloria is and what he wants, maybe where his money's coming from, because money, just follow the money and you can tell what somebody's going to, where the direction is going to end up.
Right.
And, you look at city council and the same thing. I think, you can watch how they're voting in the past to determine how they're going to vote in the future. And their votes in the past have not really taken us in the right direction. Look at homelessness in San Diego. It's just gotten worse and worse. And they all say they are making decisions to make it better, but it hasn't gotten any better.
Right.
So hard to say. I don't have all the answers, but I think people just need to get involved.
Do you have a lot of homeowners that have, within the last few years, lived in San Diego and have decided like enough's enough with San Diego and have gone to Arizona?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people just, not just going to Arizona, but going, all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm only saying Arizona because you can, you see that a little bit more because you're also over there.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing I can say is a central thing that I'm hearing is, man, it's gotten so tough in California financially, and I really don't like the direction the schools are going, and I don't want my kids to be, brought up in public schools. So, it's interesting because it could be easily one or the other, but I think what's pushing people out and eventually, having to make that decision to move is a culmination of a lot of different factors. It's not just financial. It's not just, the social issues and the homelessness and the challenges that the city is having. It's everything together is just making me say, I want to go to an easier state. Yeah. Or I want to go to a state where my family is and my friends are. And I don't know. I think
it is. It's getting a little tougher to live here. It's funny. Just yesterday I was taking my dog to the dog park, and that's, by the way, if you want to meet people and sell homes, go to a dog park. Your dog will sell you. It's a magnet. Your dog, it's the easiest conversation piece, right? Your dog runs up to another dog, the owner's standing there, and you go, hey, how's it going? And so literally got in a conversation with two other guys sitting there. Yep. And one gentleman's been in Coronado for quite a while. He said the last 20 years, and he's leaving. He's going to Bend, Oregon.
Wow.
And it's because if he was trying to stay here, his retirement plan would have changed. Oh, it's time to retire, and he can afford more out in Bend, Oregon.
Interesting.
So I see it like it's going to be. It's tough to be here and to maintain and to have that retirement. You're still going to maintain out here even after you've thought about retiring.
I know. I feel like I want to retire here. San Diego's the best.
It's the best. Well, he's talking about Bend, Oregon, and he's like, it gets cold, and me and the other guy are all. It gets cold there. You're in trouble.
So many levels you can look at San. Every time I used to travel, and I still do when I travel, I can, coming back into Lindbergh Field, you just land in the plane, you look out on both sides, and you're like, man, this is a great city. It's a great place to be. It's a good place to be. I think temporarily we're going to have some bumps, but I'm an optimistic person. I think it'll all come around and, it'll work itself out.
I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to Tucson. Don't make me go back.
No.
Scottsdale
was pretty good though.
The Scottsdale's pretty nice. Yeah. There was one point in before we made it out here, and I looked at my wife because she ended like with her family business stuff. And then we tried to do some stuff out here. And we didn't have anything in our bank account. I'm like, are we moving back to Arizona? And she looked at me and she goes, we are not moving back.
Yeah.
And we figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, you figure it out, you go along the way and you know.
We probably wouldn't be there if our family, my mom's getting older, her parents are getting older. So we just decided, you know.
Same, yeah.
We've had a good run and we have a good business and we enjoy life and just want to spend more time with them. So. And
I love looking at that. Like I get to see you on Facebook and stuff and you are enjoying life. You know.
Life is good, man. Like it's hard to complain about anything.
You have a son too, don't you?
Yeah.
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 Do you have grandkids?
We have 3.
You have 3 grandkids?
Yeah. We just had a new granddaughter. We've got 2 grandsons.
Congratulations.
Oh, it's the best.
Isn't it the difference?
It's the best. It's the payback or it's the reward. It's the reward you get for being a parent and getting
100%.
abused for all those years.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
You get to do the abusing.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, you get all the fun times and none of the hard times.
Yeah. It's funny because I look at my dad when he, you know, his grandkids and I'm like, you're being way too, where's the dad? Where's the dad I grew up with? Why are you
so nice to
Yeah,
him?
what is going on? Who are you? Who are you? No, I love my dad, but that is
It is true, though.
the grandparents get to be the fun.
For sure. And your dad was probably a real good guy when you were little. You just don't remember that, but look how you turned out.
Oh, I appreciate it. He was, you know, he's really good. He was, you know, firm, but it was it good intentions, like I said before.
Good, yeah.
It's good intentions. He, you know, you want the best, and then it was. We've talked about this before in other podcasts. It was way scarier, but not really scary. It was weird. There was no stranger. I'd take my bike out to the desert and go off like ramps and stuff. If you broke your leg, you had no communication of getting home except for walking home and hope that your friends don't run off because they're scared that you're going to get in trouble, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what we trusted. We get home before dark.
You're just jumping on your bike and you come back after dark.
Yeah.
It was the way that things were done.
And now, you know what I just thought today is that I told my wife after the whole stranger danger thing, I was like, we need Apple tags and I need to sew them into the kids' backpacks. Like it's just, it's so different. Now I want to track them 24/7.
Yeah.
It's a scary time, but the times have changed, technology's changed, and it's not going to slow down.
No.
And it's kind of the future.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned being a tough parent and, you know, your dad was tough. And, you know, you didn't like it back then. And teenagers, I mean, remember back when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Didn't like any boundaries. And
I was the only one with the
rules.
curfew. It was like all my other friends could be past 12. I was, 12, 10, whatever.
Must have been the troublemaker.
I had to be. No, I wasn't. But he made sure of it. He made sure I wasn't.
Yeah.
And he would let me know, like if I got I'd get home late, midnight, and he worked hard, man. And he'd be sitting in a chair in the dark, and I'd walk in that house, and he wouldn't even say anything to me. He'd just get up and go to bed. Wow. Even though he was probably watching TV up until the time he saw my car lights.
Still, that's
pretty
awesome.
Yeah. And I just felt like shit. I mean, like, man, and then he's got to get up to work and, 6 a.m. and work hard the rest of the day. And I just felt like I won't do that to him again.
Well, he was doing his job.
Yeah, he's doing his job.
Yeah. He's like, Levi, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yep. Just log off right to bed.
That just makes you feel worse. But, as a parent, I think you have got your teenagers, and it's a good lesson that they're not going to be happy, but you got to have the boundaries.
Yeah.
So
I just love when he tells me to stop being so hard on my kids. I'm all, what?
What are you saying?
What? Crazy, man.
That's him being a granddad.
That's him being a granddad.
That's right.
You get to a certain age.
Same thing
Like
happens
that.
to me. My mom's the same with my daughter.
Yeah.
I was like,
be nicer. It's like, what? No.
Or she's like,
You taught me how to be.
You know what she tells me? She tells me like, why you get upset? I was like,
I learned it from you.
That's great.
Well, I always we've been at this podcast for quite a while. So thank you for again
You bet.
bringing your time, your expertise. I love having you on here, man. Getting to know you was so great.
I really appreciate it. It's been a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good time for me too. I don't usually, go into all that stuff. So it's been real nice and good to know you guys too.
Yeah, I love it.
It's awesome.
I like to finish the podcast though with a fun segment.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. It's finish the sentence. Super easy.
Okay, go ahead.
Can't go wrong.
What do you got?
All right. What do you got? Okay. I laugh when.
My kids laugh.
Do you?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest source of joy.
100%.
You see your kids happy and you see your grandkids happy, and that's really all it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went through this little thing on, I don't know, TikTok or something the other day, and I heard this baby laugh, but then I watched the whole reel of babies laughing like crazy. I'm like, That is just a so pure laugh. It made me laugh. It was just made put a smile on my face.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Even now, your kids are making you laugh. Are they pulling pranks on you or anything?
My daughter does, yeah.
She does?
Oh yeah, for sure. And my sons do too.
Yeah.
My wife has two boys.
Oh,
and,
okay.
so we have a great time with them too, and they're all great.
Yeah.
But yeah, pranksters.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Okay. I would die without.
My ride or die, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's awesome.
You're going on 13 years
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah, but we've known each other. I didn't even get into this, but
Oh.
we met in 2000, and
Okay.
it was a hot and heavy initial, and then she broke up with me all of a sudden.
No.
Oh yeah.
Well, you guys were in a relationship.
We were
hot and heavy,
and then
like,
we broke
yeah,
up,
this
didn't
was-
even talk for 5 years. Not one word for 5 years, and then
Wow.
we reconnected later in life, which is a testament to timing. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, she's awesome. She's my her and my dogs, my kids. You know,
Yeah.
they're the backbone.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
She broke your heart, man.
she did.
And she just put it right
I
back
was so
together.
mad,
She
dude.
took
I
it.
was like, man, you got a lot of nerve.
Yep.
But it just worked. It's funny because you just look back at it and just timing is, you know, we go through
Timing,
different
yeah.
stages in our life and we meet people.
100%.
People come in and out of our lives all the time. And when things line up, it's pure joy. And sometimes you just grow in different directions or
Yeah.
you're just not ready for something, you know, whether it's a friendship or, you know, a marriage or
Yeah.
a relationship. So
Well, we were talking about this out there. It's like you get to a certain age too in life that you're just like, I don't have time for it.
yeah.
You know,
Yep.
don't have time for the fluff and the, you know, all
Right.
this other stuff. Get to the point.
It's a good place to be though.
And because if you don't, then you can't. It is a good place because then you can enjoy what you love the most.
right.
You know, and that's the family right now.
I also feel like you can be in service to others
Yeah.
optimally that way.
Right.
You know, once you kind of shed a lot of, you know, the baggage that you have to bring to developing your career
Yeah.
and developing your experience, once you're beyond that, you can teach it to other people and share things and share ideas. I mean, this podcast is a good example, but you guys have, you know, you bring a lot of education and knowledge to other people,
Yeah.
and it's because you're comfortable with where you're at. You're not really worried about somebody saying, "Oh, that's a bad idea," or "That's a dumb idea." You know, you
Yeah.
just don't care.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you've been through the ups and downs, you've been through the good times, bad times, and you've been tested.
Yeah.
And so, you know, with confidence, you know, this is the right place. Even if you don't think it's the right place, I know it's the right place because
Yeah.
I've been here before.
That's good. All right. I love it when.
I love it when it rains.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You love the monsoons in Arizona.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Doesn't it
coming out
smell
here
so good?
It does. There's like some desert sage. I think,
There is a
that-
desert sage. As soon as that water, you can actually like pick it off, and if you kind of can like onto it, you can smell the monsoons.
100%. I'll bring some back next time.
Will you? I'll just jar it up.
Yeah.
No, I do. I honestly miss it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I don't know if anybody's been through a monsoon, but it's scary at the same time. But it's God's hand, man. It feels like when that lightning storm comes through, you're just like, the power of that is
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah, it is. I came out when I drove out here. Came through a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of days ago.
Oh,
It's
dang.
insanity, dude. I was like, wow. I called my wife. I'm like, you should see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, the destruction that it could bring too is just
Right.
nuts. But it's, but yeah, when that rain comes down and you're just midday, it could be sun out, and then all of a sudden, just
Right. Yeah.
it's pretty incredible.
Yep.
Dang, that's pretty good. I love. That's actually kind of funny you say that because you're in San Diego and it doesn't rain that
I
often.
know. It's kind of sunny and 70s great, but it does get a little boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In an ideal world,
You know, you never have to worry about anything.
yeah,
You know, it's like
we just talked
peace
about all
just
that.
happens and harmony just happens and unity just happens.
Yeah.
You know, in a peaceful world. I was talking to a guy today and I was saying, just imagine if the bankers didn't exist.
Yeah. Right?
Like if bankers didn't exist, there could be so much harmony in the world.
Yeah.
And I just mean like big high level bankers, you know, manipulating so many different things, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's, there's so much potential for, I mean, it sounds kind of weird probably.
No, it doesn't because
Yeah, there's so
I'm
much
starting
potential.
to read this whole be your own bank sort of thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
heard that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very interesting that you say it. It's like the timing is kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much potential. I'm very optimistic for the future, but that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you the last one here. The advice I would give a new agent.
Just probably work hard, put your head down, get aligned with a good mentor,
Yeah.
Do what you're told. You know, if you're with the right people and the right team and they're telling you what to do, try and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, it's super important not to get into your own way. You know, and I think there's certain talented business people out there. I had a good stint with Ryan Serhant. I don't know if you know.
No.
Who that is Ryan Serhant, $1 million listing guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's got a pretty big business in New York, and we got to go out and hang out with him. And he's just such a perfectionist and such an amazing negotiator and an amazing on camera. He's got an amazing business. Check him out.
Yeah.
But you know, he's a natural at it. So you can't really tell him how to do it because he's just so good at everything.
Yeah.
But most agents really need some guidance and need to understand how the business works, how to get what you want,
Right.
how to best serve your clients. So I would say get aligned with somebody and just work hard.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think putting your ego aside too, coming up into real estate is just, like you said, just be a sponge, get that good mentor, and just sometimes even afterwards, like put that ego aside and keep learning.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's hard to do sometimes, I guess, when you're building your Instagram account and you're worried about likes and, you know, it's people get in there. Again, I think it's getting in your own way. You know,
It's getting in your own way,
That's important today to have a social presence, but that's not who you are.
Right.
You know, so
Be organic.
be organic, work hard.
Be genuine. Yeah. Work hard.
Yeah. I think working hard is if you can work hard at anything, you're going to do okay.
Yeah.
Just accept it. Don't fight it. Just work hard.
Well, one last question for you. What's next? What's next for the
I don't
Cameron
know.
team? What's next for
I
the
don't know,
Cameron
man.
family?
I don't know.
I like that answer.
More grandkids would be great.
I like that answer though. I don't know is a great answer. That's the time that you're there. Let it happen.
Yeah, I think one important thing I'll just part with is
You got
there's everything that we do takes up space in our personal lives, and your day is packed from beginning to end, most of us, with just stuff we have to do, you know, and it all takes up space. And one of the things I decided to do, and I'm going to continue to do, is to leave open a space for things to come in. Because when you have your life fully packed and your routine fully set, it's hard for creativity and change and new opportunity to come in. And you actually have to consciously make an effort to say, I'm going to make some room for the unknowns to come in. And out of those unknowns, beautiful things can happen. So, but it's letting go of control of what you think your day has to look like. And I know, you know, it's easy to say, but because you feel like you have to do this,
Right.
this, and this to make money and keep your world going around. But I find the best things come in when you're just at ease, and you have space for things to come in, so that when I'm talking to people like you and you say, hey, you should talk to this guy, or let's go check out, you know, what they're doing downstairs. And I'm like, well, I don't really, you know, you guys have a lot of good stuff going on in this building.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the average person who's running a successful business, it's easy to say, I don't have time for that, or I can't do that. I've got my day.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes the best things come from a 15-minute meeting with somebody you have no idea.
100%.
You have to make room for that.
Yeah.
So make room for it. I don't know. I don't know what's next.
That's amazing.
I think development is probably in the real estate realm. It's probably going to be more development in business and building, but who knows?
That's a fantastic answer, by the way. I love that.
you.
And thank you for that advice. It is true. You do have to really set aside some time to let things happen.
Right.
Be open to it. Say yes more often.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
You'll never know. That's the unknown right there.
Be the yes man.
That's the what's next. That's be the yes man.
Be the yes man.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and spending time with us today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
We're going to do this again for sure.
I'd love to. Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it, yeah.
All right.
Got so much to talk about.
We got so much more to talk about. We just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Well,
Thanks,
look in
buddy.
this camera and tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at www.cameronsandiego.com. You can email me at mike@cameronsandiego. And you can text me to 619-248-9409 is my text number. And, you know, I was telling somebody in the workshop the other day, I said, don't worry about it. Just take my phone number, text me anytime. I don't care if if I'm busy, I'll just respond and answer if that's okay. And I think that's,
That's the best way.
that's the best way. Just, text or call.
Yep.
Or go check out my website.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tony, tell everybody where they can find this podcast.
Well, guys, you guys can find this podcast in YouTube. Go over there, subscribe, like, share, ring that bell so
Ring
you
the
get
bell.
notification every time we post a new episode. Also, go follow us on Instagram. Yes, we are there too. So leave a comment. We like to talk to you guys. So let us know, what do you think of this podcast today? All right, guys. So go follow us. You guys know what to do. You have a great day. Let's go.
All right.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Awesome, man. Thanks.